My son missed his mother's funeral, claiming it wasn't worth his effort. While I was laying my wife to rest, he was lounging on the sunny shores of Miami. Just 7 days later, he rang me up, begging, "Dad, the house payment hasn't gone through." My reply came sharp and distant. "I no longer give a damn." He sounded stunned, but that was merely the start. Before we go on, please hit subscribe to the channel and drop in the comments what the time is in your spot right now. My fingers shook as I tapped Nathan's number for the 5th time in half an hour. The funeral organizer's kind look twisted my gut. Yet I turned my gaze elsewhere, fixing on Eleanor's polished mahogany coffin. Its surface shone under the dim autumn light, with pale roses draping over golden fittings that sparked in the faint rays slipping past thick clouds. The line buzzed once, twice, 3 times. Nearby, family pulled up in dark sedans, their soft murmurs blending with the far-off whir of the lawn crew. Aunt Lydia gripped a handkerchief, her gaze already swollen. Cousin Harold adjusted his collar, glancing at his pocket watch. Everyone appeared to grasp their spot, their duty in this last farewell. Everyone but my boy. 7 rings, 8, 9. Dad. Nathan's tone broke in at last, though something rang off. Faint sounds leaked over the connection. Chuckles, tunes, chatter unfit for a work call. "Nathan, boy, where exactly are you? The service kicks off in 25 minutes. A beat. More of those odd echoes. "Was that ocean surf, Dad? I can't swing it. Got critical work to wrap." The phrase struck like icy rain. I clutched the coffin's edge, sensing the sleek grain under my fingers. She would have found the words. She always reached him when my tries fell short. "What work trumps your mother's burial?" Another lull, deeper this time, when Nathan answered. His words held a sharpness I'd never caught before. Curt. Nearly indifferent. "Truth be told, this entire affair doesn't merit my schedule. Quit pestering me." The device weighed like lead in my grasp. All around, life pressed on in its quiet sway. Folks claiming chairs, the minister sorting his pages, ground staff sweeping far trails. But I froze there, trapped between the woman I'd cherished for 42 years and the son scorning us in tandem. "Nathan, your mother, she's..." The buzz of disconnection sliced my falter like a knife. I gawked at the blank display, my face warped in its gloss. Not worth his schedule. Eleanor had battled a 6-hour drive in a blizzard when Nathan caught flu in his university days. She'd skipped her own brother's anniversary gathering to catch his sales pitches. She stood up for him with neighbors when he'd skipped 4 Thanksgivings straight. The initial rain specks brushed my skin, mingling with a saltier trickle. "Mr. Lang." The organizer neared, his tone soft yet crisp. "Time to guide the kin to seats soon." I tucked the phone away and pivoted to the incoming relatives. Somehow, I gripped hands with newcomers, murmuring rote thanks for their presence. Grateful you made it. She'd have valued this turnout, indeed. She battled with grace, but my thoughts clung to Nathan's timbre, to that offhand rejection of all Eleanor signified to him, to our bond. Aunt Lydia pressed my elbow. "Haven't spotted Nathan yet. He'll catch up." The fib soured on my tongue. Vital work. The phrase stung like disloyalty as I uttered it. Eleanor merited honesty, now above all, yet positioned by her coffin, ringed by those who'd journeyed far to salute her legacy. I couldn't voice that our sole child had picked elsewhere over this ultimate parting. Thunder growled above as I led Aunt Lydia to the lead row of canvas seats. The rite would proceed with or without Nathan. Eleanor's existence would be lauded, her essence revered, her departure noted with the poise she'd forged over decades of guiding, caring, offering. But as I claimed my front spot, tugging my dark cravat once more, I couldn't dispel my son's echo. This entire affair doesn't merit my schedule. The minister neared the stand. His scripture parted at a silk-tabbed leaf. At his back, Eleanor's portrait beamed from its stand, framed by those pale roses she'd cherished. In the shot, her gaze carried the glow from our vows, the optimism from Nathan's initial strides, the tenderness from every trial our kin had braved. Rain poured steady now, drumming the tent cloth above, somehow. I gripped hands with arrivals and settled in the lead row. The minister's timbre flowed over the assembly, kind and solemn, sketching vivid scenes of Eleanor's path that ought to swell my chest with thanks. Ought to, but failed. Eleanor was a steadfast parent who placed kin above all, he noted. Nodding to her image, she trusted love's force to mend any scar. My phone hummed at my ribs. I pushed it aside, dragging focus to the minister's lines. But my head wandered to Nathan's scorn, to that flippant pitch still tolling in my ears. Another hum. Then two. Beside me, 35 guests held a hushed vigil. Cousin Harold patted his cheeks with a cloth. My frame quivered with muted heaves. They were present, marking Eleanor's recall while her flesh and blood was elsewhere. The phone hummed once more. I scanned the group, ensuring no eyes caught my drift, then eased the gadget from my coat. The face lit with 4 alerts from Facebook, tied to Nathan's spouse, Emily. I'd seldom bothered with such feeds, but Eleanor urged me to track Emily's page for glimpses of their jaunts. She poured her hours without reserve. The minister went on, schooling youth not only in lessons but in virtues of mercy and honor. The twist didn't escape me. I pressed the LUD alert. The panel burst with vivid azures and emeralds, clashing the drab right encircling me. A clip rolled unbidden, displaying pristine waves kissing ivory sands. Fronds danced in the breeze, the sound catching faint calypso beats laced with glee. Then Emily's lilt. Such an ideal afternoon in Miami. The climate's divine. Miami. The lens swept a hotel basin where folks reclined in beach gear, beverages aloft, shaded lounges, sand games afar. Sheer escape haven. Shared 12 minutes past, pinned to a spot tag sealing my dread. Miami Beach, Florida. My hold clenched the phone. So that's the vital work Nathan meant, as we convened to enter his mother, as kin crossed 2 states to offer homage, as I perched here piecing our fractured line. He savored sips amid palms, Eleanor's deepest delight. The minister pressed, stemmed from seeing her line expand and flourish. The clip rolled on. Emily's palm entered view, clasping a fruity brew topped with skewers and wee parasols. Beyond, hotel folk frolicked in the foam, their easy mirth a realm apart from our grave cluster. I yearned to hurl the phone, to roar, to shatter this calm observance with the stark fact of the air Eleanor raised, despite her boundless gifts and yields. Instead, I slid it back and schooled my features to fitting sorrow. Allow the minister to wrap his homage. Let Eleanor's circle and kin recall her as she warranted. Time would come to sift Nathan's deed, his ongoing slight while we saluted the soul who'd birthed him. But my palms quaked with pent fury, and my knee jittered against the steel frame. Each a claim of Eleanor's kin loyalty, carved like a blade. She'd trusted love's mend for scars, but certain gashes defied repair. The minister shut his tome and yielded to the next voice, Eleanor's old headmaster, who'd shared her world for 18 months. As she gained the stand, settling her specs and cards, I met the organizer's stare at the rear. He dipped his head with pity, likely deeming my clear unrest plain mourning. If only so straightforward. Rain thrashed the awning above. Yet in Florida, Skies beamed. The air stayed flawless for leisure, while your mother's form lingered for chill earth. I muttered a plea for fresh air to Aunt Lydia, who clasped my palm knowingly, and strode firm to the tool zone past the burial vault. My wrath swelled per stride, stoked by the gap between Emily's bright reel and this slate dawn's truth. 42 years Eleanor cherished that lad. 42 years of night sweats, stage shows, diploma rites, career drills she'd rehearsed with him, bond counsel he'd ignored. She'd shielded him from kin who queried his no-shows, spun tales for skipped feasts, mailed parcels to his lavish Boston flat. And this repaid her recall, past the tool vault, clear of the right's mild drone. I drew the phone with unsteady grip, not nerves now. Sheer raw ire, the sort I hadn't known since Nathan hit 16 and totaled the ride, joyriding with peers who dared him. But even so, Eleanor had steadied me, unearthed the fit words. Now I faced my blaze solo. I punched his digits sans pause, my thumb stabbing the panel harder than needed. One buzz, two. He'd likely skip it, relishing some lounger treat. Or, what fresh hassle? Dad. His timbre bore that irked bite, but now I braced for it. Nathan, I caught your wife's clip from Miami Beach. Quiet. Just gale through my earpiece and remote leisure din via his. That's not how it looks. Dad, Emily's just... Spare me the fib. My bark rebounded off the stone wall. First yell in ages. You're beach-bound while we commit your mother. Another hush. When he broke it, the facade crumbled. All right. Yeah. Florida here. Big deal. This burial's a drag on my day. The strike landed fiercer than his prior brush-off. Now backed by evidence of his chill. While kin perched on canvas hearing odes. While blooms drooped in the wet. While Eleanor's shell paused for eternal peace. Her air chased bliss beneath fronds, a drag on my day. I trod by the vault, booting stray stones. She bore you, cherished you when none would, upheld you against all who faulted. She's passed. Dad. Nathan's chill pierced my heat like frost. Lingering to weep changes zilch. I've a path to tread. The breezy spite halted my stride, a path to tread, as if Eleanor's end was a mere snag in his leisure slate. Rain lashed my cheeks, blending with leaks I hadn't marked. Afar. I caught the headmaster's pitch across the yard, recounting Eleanor's zeal for her pupils, tales Nathan would miss, for Sand's outranked parents. You're no son of mine now. The vow slipped free unchecked, absolute as a judge's rap. Fine by me. Nathan shot back seamless. Ring me no more. The link died. I glared at the call-done face and punched redial swift. It toned once. Then voicemail. Retry. The line you're reaching is offline. Third go. Caller barred. He'd sealed me out, as Eleanor's box rested yards off, as circle and kin rallied to exalt her mark, as wet pierced my right garb. My air had barred my line to guard his jaunt unbroken. I tested twice over. Each drew the same bot rejection. The gear he'd flashed his shore bliss with now walled us, willful and solid. Thunder boomed and the pour surged. Behind, the right droned on. Likely Harlan recounting our pair outings 35 years back, when Eleanor donned rose frocks, and Nathan lived in our visions of kin someday. My phone hung leaden, its pain mirroring my rain-smeared scowl. Barred, severed, scorned as fully as Eleanor's recall had been scorned, the tool vault gave no roof from the gale. Yet I lingered, letting damp seep my coat and stream my brow. In Florida, light still poured. The air stayed divine. Emily likely snapped fresh reels by now, seizing their flawless hour while we bore flawed woe. Gradually, I trudged to the right, souls slurping in turf muddied by the torrent. Through the sheets, I spied the cluster still seated under guard cloth, still heeding voices who'd braved this climb for her. Nathan's void seat up front jeered their bond. Eleanor had held it open on chance he'd stun us by turning up. Faith, she'd named it. At times faith's our sole hold. But faith, I grasped, could wound keen. It had spurred my morning dials despite knowing he'd shrug. It had kept his entry as Nathan's heir in my device, as if the tag might save a tie long gone. As I neared the fringe, Aunt Lydia spied me and waved to the spare spot at her side. The right neared close. I sensed it by the shifts in seats, the tissue reaches, the brace for ultimate adieu. I joined Eleanor's loyal kin. The souls who'd picked here, despite wet and ache and the raw toil of seeing kin fade forever. They earned more than my stray. Eleanor earned more than an heir who prized lounges over her echo. The minister reclaimed the stand for rap lines, but his phrases scarce registered. My head stuck on that bot note, collar barred, certain scars, I learned, outran Eleanor's fabled love mend. I trekked the 80 paces to the right, each heavier, schooling my mask to do woe. The minister's flow carried as I eased to my seat by Aunt Lydia, who gripped my hand sans glance from the stand. Eleanor poured her span nurturing fresh thoughts. The minister said, his pitch fond with true warmth. She held each youth merited patience, grasp, boundless backing. Aunt Lydia leaned near, hissing. Eleanor beamed over Nathan so. Recall her flashing his sales plaques. Those sleek scrolls from Boston, my gullet seized. She spied his peak always. He must grieve missing this. Gridlock from Boston bites hard. I fixed on Eleanor's box. Those pale roses quivering faint in the gust. He bore ties he couldn't dodge. The untruth bit sharp. But what else to voice that her cherished kin picked lounger brews over her send-off? That he'd waived 42 years of motherhood as unworthy his hour. When Nathan was 9, Aunt Lydia prattled on, blind to my inner fray. Eleanor logged 4 weeks aiding his eco exhibit. Mind the geyser that burst in the den, the flash struck bodily. Nathan's thrilled mug, starch and fizz dusting the tops, Eleanor chuckling as she mopped the spill. Daddy. When's Mama on mend? I sketched her a sketch. 9-year-old Nathan had queried in her short lung spell that term. Such plain bond then. Such clean fret for his dam's health. She skipped no class talk of his. Aunt Lydia hissed, even dragging ill to them. More flashes surged unchecked. Eleanor motoring through Gale to his campus on flu scare. Ditching her kin's feast to hit his sales shows, upholding him to pals who pondered his skips. 2 springs passed. When the doc voiced Eleanor's verdict, her lead plea was of Nathan. How share with him she'd breathed, clutching my knuckles in that crisp chamber, as if the growth was our fault, a letdown to our lad. I'd wrung that dusk. Pitch even despite my shake, lad. Your dam's facing health woes. Spare a weekend. Dad, work's wild. You get it. Relay Mom, I'm rooting. She'd prize your voice. I'll aim a ring soon. He hadn't. The thread dragged months. Quick chats where Nathan's drift shone clear. Trips turned weekly, then sparse, then void. Tales of key huddles, dire closes, path boosts that outweighted kin pulls. Eleanor spun yarns for him each go. He's wary. Everett. End spooks the young. Even as she thinned, flagged, leaned on my aid for plain chores. She backed his void. Perhaps Nathan for Easter. She'd mused last March. Breath faint. I'll probe him. I'd vowed, foreknowing his nay. He's crafting his span. She'd added more to self than me. That's youth's way. They craft fresh spans. But here now, ringed by 35 who'd carved hour for her adieu. I saw what she'd shunned. Nathan hadn't crafted a span. He'd ditched the one with us. Vow you'll grasp him. Eleanor had breathed in those end fortnights. He treasures us his mode, her mode, as if treasure tallied in yarns and hollow vows. The minister rapped his lines, and the throng stood for close pleas. I rose by rote, frame tracing rights, while head trapped in those sore months watching Eleanor wane awaiting an heir who stayed away. Around, tones joined known balm and bywords, but all I caught was Nathan's pitch from 90 minutes back. This entire affair doesn't merit my schedule. Aunt Lydia dabbed her lids with new cloth. She graced such loyal kin. She breathed. Loyal. The term rang in my dome as the minister shut his tome and folk gathered gear. Eleanor's loyalty shone true. Loyal to an heir who'd barred his sire's line to dodge hassle. Loyal to a youth grown to a soul void of loyalty back. The rite closed, and I still hadn't shaped how to field the 10 kin who'd queried. How to exalt Eleanor's mark while owning the stark on the lad she'd passed, yearning one last sight. The minister's lines dimmed as I yanked to that April dawn 18 months back. When all shifted, Dr. Reynolds had stacked her charts neat on desk, but her look bore what I'd missed prior. The guarded calm healers wear for dire drops. The growths reached farther than first guessed. She'd said, tone skilled mild, we're eyeing fortnights, not spans. Eleanor's palm sought mine over the gap twixt seats. How share with Nathan, then? Staring her end, her prime fret shielded our lad from harsh fact. I'd wrung him that eve, tone firm despite quake. Lad, your dam's in health strife, healers push aid at once. What aid sort Nathan had pressed, and brief. I'd sensed real fret in his lilt, infusions it'll grind, but she's tough. Well, keep tabs. Sure she'll crush it. Tabs, as if his damn span was a feed post. The lad half-year wasn't grim. Nathan dropped thrice, hauling posh blooms and lingering for supper. He'd seemed true fretted, probing aid plans, fallout, outlook. Eleanor perked at his note, gabbing his trade, his loft, his bold aims for rise. But as aids dragged and Eleanor's spark dimmed, his drops turned monthly dues, not bonds. He'd land with same posh blooms, bide exact 90 minutes, then cite key huddles or dawn lifts as outs. He's forging his trade. Eleanor would note post each clipped drop. Youth must eye their paths. By half-year's close, drops ceased full. Rings turned curt info swaps. Mom's hold she's battling. Solid. Tell her I cherish. Click. I'd logged those moons twofold as spouse and nurse. Learned soft fares Eleanor could hold. Sorted dose times. Claims. Carted to bound healer stops, jotting aid notes I scarce grasped. The clinic halls bit worst. Perched by Eleanor's seat in drip rights, eyeing toxin flow to her streams while she feigned cheer for me. Peer souls had droppers. Youth. Circle, wide kin trading aid. We held each, and it seemed full till I saw it lacked. Might Nathan spare weekend, Eleanor had asked one slate May noon, her wrap slipping as she braced straighter. I dialed his line with palms quaked more ire than fret. Dad, chaos reigns. This buyer seeks tweaks by Friday, and I'm lagged. Your dam named you Keen. She's brighter now. Glad word. Relay her, I'll lock soon. Perhaps next cycle when dust settles. Dust stayed stirred. Nathan's outs grew grander. Trade slick. Firmer. Prime pitches. Core closes. path shots that shunned kin pulls. Eleanor quit naming it straight, but I'd spy her eyeing her device on buzzes, eyeing rings uncome. She'd glow if I voiced Nathan's name, then sidestep when he might drop. The close moons blurred to swelling void. Eleanor craved aid for base tasks, rinse, garb, fares I'd mastered for one whose hunger fled. I'd shifted her rest to the den so she eyed the yard she'd prized, spied fowl at the tray we'd strung out view, perhaps Nathan for Easter. She'd breathed one March night, scarce above the whir of her air gear. I'd wrung him then, dropping guile, lad. Your dam's fading. She craves your sight. How long left healer's eye fortnights? Perhaps a cycle. I'll shape it. Trade's mad now. But kin leads. Kin leads. The yarn flowed so light, so rote. I pondered if he caught his own. Easter passed sans. Eleanor too frail to dine. But she'd pressed eye airball games as Nathan prized viewing with us. She dozed, fitful, rousing now then to query if he'd rung. He hadn't. May bore end slide. Eleanor dozed most dawns, stirring soul for doses and brief trades that felt loaned spans. She'd still voice of Nathan, but slant now. He toils stout, he sound glad relay his dam treasures him. I'd quit ringing by then. What gain Nathan picked months back. Vow you'll grasp him. Eleanor had breathed in our last true trade. End spooks youth. He'll rue this come day. Rue as if Nathan's void was fright, not tallied greed. Eleanor passed on a Thursday dawn in February, her palm warm in mine as light cracked our sleep pain. I'd cradled her through her last draw, murmuring Nathan's cherish we both knew false. My lead ring was to Nathan, Dad. All sound early yet. She's away, lad. Your dam slipped an hour past. Quiet. Then I'll sort the setups from here. I know folks. Folks. Not I'll rush home. Not I must stand. Folks to sort setups. While he pressed his span seamless, the grate of canvas seats yanked me to now. Folk rose, clutched wraps, readied for the plot move. Eleanor's box paused, ringed by those pale roses evoking her yard. Her faith, her firm trust in an heir who ditched her need utmost. I stood with the rest by rote, taking soft pats, low balms, and hopeful scans to the lot, where they yet eyed Nathan's late dash, apt sorry but timely. Eleanor would glow at this crowd. Cousin Harold said, firm on my arm, she grazed countless paths. Thanks for turning out, I echoed Otto, lines worn from scores of repeats. Aunt Lydia neared, purse clutched, gaze roving unsure. Ought we hold for Nathan, he must snag foul jam. Ere I shaped fresh yarn, a known tone cut the hum. Everett, Harlan Brooks stood 4 paces off, his rough palms linked front. He'd motored 90 minutes from the West End, in his fine gray blazer and the grave cast he'd sported at build spots when fixes loomed. We'd toiled Build's joint for 12 years ere I shifted to drafts, split brew breaks and gripes on chiefs who'd ne'er gripped tool. Harlan, I clasped his proffer, struck by his hold's force. The linger past norm. I've clocked you 38 years, he said low, eyes sweeping the throng aft me. Where's Nathan missed him in the right. The plain probe snagged me raw, while others asked with mild care. Harlan's pitch bore old Bond's edge, the claim to stark replies. Couldn't join. The load sank deeper this go. He's in Florida. Harlan's brows arched faint. Florida now for why I scanned. Sure we dodged ears, kin paced to the plot or rides, tones low, strides reverent. Jaunt said the burial unworthy his hour. The lull dragged twixt us, Harlan's cast held, but his gaze stirred, rue laced with nod, as if he'd guessed such, but wished off. Eleanor would ache, he said at length. Ne'er voiced by to him. The yield burst ere I checked, hauling 18 months pent ire, 18 months of AIDS. Harlan, 18 months of naming him, spinning for him, trusting he'd stand when it counted. Harlan dipped slow, stare locked on Eleanor's box, prepped for shift. I eyed you prop that lad decades. When's the halt? What mean you, I mean? Certain drills sink soul via grit. His tone bore span's heft. Years eyeing pals steer kin storms. Trade falls, self slips. Eleanor warded him from fallout his full arc. Spun yarns when he let kin down. Patched when he stung bonds. I mulled Nathan's youth. Eleanor dashing to class on his blank works. Ringing his chief on late sleeps. Easing rifts with pals he'd slighted. She dubbed it backing his spark. Gazing back, it looked more like feeding his greed. She craved I grasp him. I said, pardon him. Grasping one don't spell taking all they do. Harlan eased stance. Shift planned and sure. Had a kin who tossed kin funds on cards. My dam kept hauling him free. Saying cherish meant no quit. Know the end I shook head. He ne'er sank in. Kept tossing as fallout ne'er clung. At times the kindest yields loosing one to face their picks yield. Round us. The press thinned as folk hit rides or paced to plot. Yard hands stacked seats, strides sharp and honed. The right's frame melted to grief's tangle. Shifts, kin pulls. What urge you I pressed? Harlan stilled long, eyeing my cast. Eleanor willed him aught in the codicil. Aye, the home's mine, but funds, her guide wage, some stakes. She aimed Nathan comfy. Even post his ditch, the probe dangled twixt us. Eleanor reworked her writ in close fortnights. Sure Nathan's hall kept his ways. She'd named it trust in his ark. I'd eyed it last bid to buy cherish he'd ne'er freed. She held he'd shift. Thought duty might ripe him. And you, what hold you? I eyed the organizer guiding the box's haul. His crew hushed pro round Eleanor's end trek. In moments she'd sink to soil I'd claimed the lots 25 years back. When end loomed far, and Nathan rang weakly. I hold certain souls shift soul when pressed. I owned. Harlan dipped. Let not this slip. Everett, let him not deem his dam's pass means naught. Certain drills sink soul via grit. He gripped my arm once tight, then paced to his rig sans back glance. I stood lone mid-strewn right sheets and fading pedal bits, his lines tolling. Let not this slip. The plot right loomed soon, Eleanor's end dispatch, joined by all who'd cherished her save the one whose stand she'd craved prime. I paced slow to my ride, key palmed but engine cold. Through glass, I spied Aunt Lydia yet roving the lot, hopeful, likely pondering if Nathan's lagged hop had landed. Other kin bunched by rides, awaiting cue on next. What next that rang Eleanor's gift to me? With a home stuffed recalls and an heir who'd barred my line to shield his jaunt from kin snag. I perched in drive throne, key set but unturned, mulling Harlan's lines on drills and yields. Somewhere in Florida, Nathan likely snapped fresh shore shots while his dam's form paused for plot, pressing his peak span while dodging recall of the span that granted him all. Eleanor's lilt whispered in recall. Vow you'll grasp him. But grasping one, as Harlan voiced, didn't spell taking all they wrought. The 45-minute haul home dragged like days. I idled in the lane 10 minutes ere killing the motor. Glaring at the home Eleanor and I split for 30 years. The eve light through known shades crossed the stoop. But all rang altered now. Barer, like a stage postcast. I paced to the entry, fumbling keys odd in palm. The home met me with hush so thick it bore press, muffling my ears till I hummed throat for sound. Eleanor's specs perched on den ledge by her puzzle tome. Her brew cup waited in rack, rinsed for dawn uncome. I grazed the lip soft, recalling her supping it scalded, huffing cross while griping my weight, easing my dark cravat. I climbed to our sleep den and stripped the right garb methodical. Each bit felt shield I at last shed, the coat that caged my blaze, the top that drank my leaks, the strides that bore me through life's longest day. I tugged on eased denim and Eleanor's prized knit of mine, the gray lamb's wool she'd gifted 2 Yules back. It clung faint to her scent from last clasp as I wore it. Down den. I brewed Josan's thought, wrote steering palms through old right. 2 heaps, not 4. Eleanor favored it milder than mine. Sole, when the urn chimed done, did I mark I'd yanked 2 cups auto from rack. Hers and mine, side by side as each dawn decades. The view of that spare cup, set for one ne'er needing Joe again. Near cracked me. I restowed hers and brimmed mine, then roamed to the greet den where framed shots blanked each plane. Our vow dawn, Eleanor aglow in cream silk, me daunted but feigning bold. Nathan's class close, all 3 grinned with pride and chance. Campus start with Nathan sleek and free, while Eleanor fought tears. Fresher shots spun other yarns. Nathan's sales rights where we'd hauled 7 hours to eye him claim nods from tradekin who knew him sharper than us. His loft warm in Boston, where he'd flushed at our stand mid his pro circle. Last Yule, his end drop, smile taut, gaze ever to his device. 40 years. I raised that lad, I voiced to Eleanor's prime seat. 40 years of youth games where you hollered loudest in stands. Class tales where you hauled blooms even when he blanked scripts. The seat held mum, but I heard her anyway. He's forging his trade. Everett, youth eye-paths. But when's path forge quit as yarn for ditching past, I pressed the void den. When's drive turned greed, I sank to Eleanor's seat. Rare perch while she breathed. It yet molded her slight build, yet wafted her night balm. From here she'd eyed her yard shift seasons, scanned tomes galore, marked scrolls from youth who'd prized her. Harlan's lines told in head. Certain drills sink soul via grit. Eleanor warded Nathan from yields his full arc. Blank works turned her dash to class. Late closes her rings to kind chiefs. Failed pulls our fund nets, our heart pads, our boundless redo shots. Even in her woe, she'd spun for his void. He's wary. She'd breathed post-fresh no-drop. End spooks youth. As if war granted ditch. As if dread freed him to let his dam fade lone save a flagging spouse. I lifted the shot from Nathan's class close, eyeing his mug for hints of the soul he'd grown. At 19, he'd clasped a sans flush, rang weekly with class yarns, pal tales, dreams we'd backed. When'd that flip? When'd our lad turn 1 picking Florida sands over dam's burial, the shift crept not night to dawn. Gazing back, I traced the slow chill, rings curt, drops dews, our spans snags he juggled not prized. Eleanor marked it too, though ne'er owned. I'd spy her by device Sundays, eyeing rings late till ceased. She'd voice Nathan's name with guarded cheer, testing if this dawn he'd recall kin who cherished him. You spied his peak always. Dear, I said to her shot, even when he quit spying us. The eve glow waned, hurling longer shades cross greet den. I ought dine some. I knew. Ought ring Aunt Lydia to mark safe home. Ought launch thanks for blooms and balms. instead. I perched in Eleanor's seat, clutching our lad's class shot, at last owning what she'd ne'er yielded. Nathan ditched us long ere now. Now, he'd sealed it, Harlan held true. Certain drills sank via grit. The probe was, if I bore spine to drill them. I flipped the slate book and waited boot. My pick hardened per tick. The known desk bloomed. Shot of Eleanor in yard. Snapped last bloom when she'd strength to set the lilies she'd ne'er eye full. Fund sites craved keys, guard probes, check codes. I'd shaped all our coin lines years back, when Eleanor trusted me on such while she eyed guiding and kin. Now that trust served fresh aim, the fund's azure and silver pane loaded honed swift. Check line, hold line, home dues, light bills, all the plain frame of a span built joint decades. I steered to steady haul zone with drafters sharp, sure what waited. There. Steady haul 2,500 monthly to Nathan Lang home line. Next due, May 15th, 2025. Full hauls sent. 72 shifts. 72 shifts. 6 years of monthly hauls. Each a mark of Eleanor's trust our lad would one day prize the yield. Each proof cherish. Unreturned. Turns feed. I tapped haul past link and eyed years of trades scroll pane. April 2025. 2,500. March 2025. 2,500. February 2025. 2,500 sent while Eleanor waned, and Nathan couldn't spare drop. My reckon tool backed what my drafter's head tallied swift. 2,500 times 12 moons times 6 years equals $210,000. $210,000. Eleanor and I might have chased that Pacific sail she'd dreamed since we caught that voyage reel 4 years back. Might have freshened the den she'd griped 20 years. Might have backed 8 youth for class over propping one thankless heir's ways. I scrolled deeper, unearthing Nathan's start missive from 2019. Dad, know this looms large, but Boston trade's wild steep. If you aid home hauls till I root, vow repay once trade lifts. 6 years on, his trade lifted grand. His feed posts flashed steep eats, plush jaunts, chic garb, but somehow ne'er circled repay, ne'er voiced the shot. Well, Nathan, I said to the slate pane, you deemed the burial unworthy your hour. Let's eye if your home's worthy mine. I tapped steer steady haul and scanned end terms. Now yield, no linger, no soft to taker save their funds norm steps. The sure pane bloomed. Sure to end this steady haul under in fine. This yield can't unroll. Fresh hauls won't auto-shift. I mulled Eleanor's lilt. Vow you'll guard Nathan. I'd guarded him 33 years. Guarded him. Fed him. Garbed him. Schooled him. Backed his dreams. Funded his ways. Fed his greed. Guarded so keen he'd ne'er learned guard self or other. Perhaps time Nathan learned what self-guard rang true. I tapped end haul. The sure bloomed now. Steady haul ended. Yield now. Sure missive sent to lineholder. My post chimed swift. Haul end sure. Nathan Lang home line gets no auto shifts from your check line. 6 years coin aid closed with 2 taps. I eased back in den throne. Sensing what I'd missed moons. Ease, not grief's void, but load sheds lift. First since Eleanor's verdict, I bore not another's pulls. Nathan would snag his funds note in 12 hours. His next home haul due in 10 days. He'd scarce time to fret. Grasp sire wouldn't sort this snag. He'd likely ring once he spied his net fled. But his line stayed barred in my device. And I aimed no flip. Certain trades earned right. And Nathan bore much to earn. The slate pane dimmed auto. Querying if keep sit, I shut the fund site and closed the book. shoving it aside with task done's glow. $210,000. Eleanor would grasp come time. She'd craved I guard Nathan, but she'd schooled youth yields bore weight. Duty couldn't shift sans drill. Tonight, Nathan drilled lone for his home. Dawn, we'd eye his heed. I paced to the chill box with eased strides than moons, popping it to spy chances, not pulls. Eleanor ever shaped our fares, fretted fuel. Sure I dined right even when woe slew hunger. Tonight, first post her pass, I felt true crave. Eggs, churn, firm loaf, plain bits for plain fare. I cracked 4 eggs to basin and eyed them blend to sun hue, recalling Eleanor's tease on my famed fluff. Soul, I know who puffs them cloudlight, she'd said. Tonight they puffed cloudlight. I laid the den board with our prime ware. The bond china we'd held for rare marks come too scant. If my first calm fair moons wasn't rare, naught was. The plates gleamed posh under den glows, mirroring a glow I'd forgot might be. First moons I true savored bites, I voiced aloud, relishing each, the eggs honed, the loaf crunch, the churn true not the trim Eleanor pressed. Plain joys reclaimed with freedom to seize them. Post-fare, I shifted to greet den and eased to Eleanor's prime throne with remote. She'd picked our Eve plays, drawn to old reels evoking her youth. Tonight I picked her pick, a Grant Woo tale that sparked her laugh even in woe's peak. Recall this reel. Dear, I asked her shot on side ledge. You held Grant could sweet out any bind. Perhaps you'd back a touch sweet working Nathan's way for once. The known lines washed me. Balm, not ache. Eleanor's near rang lighter tonight, less lack and more boon, as if she grasped cherish at times craved hard picks, warding from yields not harm. My phone sat on end ledge. Will shut. Moons I'd kept it near, edgy on rings that might haul dire word, shifts on Eleanor's hold, or curt trades with Nathan that left me barer than hush. Tonight, I craved true still. No snags, no pulls, no letdowns. Queer how much brighter the home rings tonight. I breathed, struck by its truth. Eleanor's pass had stuffed each room with her lack, but Nathan's scorn had cleared the air some way. No more eyeing rings unring, no more spinning for deeds unspinnable. The reel closed near 9, shy of my norm retire, but late to what I'd scraped since Right Preps launched. I killed the viewer and paced up, tracing bedright that felt out moons, rinse teeth. I caught my mirror twin and spied, unlooked, not joy plain, but calm. The still post hard pick known right. In sleep den, I stripped slow, hanging garb with care Eleanor pressed. Garb lasts longer tended right, she'd said. And tonight, the known right rang honoring her thrift wit not mourning lack. I slipped twixt fresh sheets. I'd swapped them prior for guests post-right who might drop, and lay still in dark, heeding the home ease round me. No wild thoughts on Nathan's next snag, no edge on rings I couldn't take. Just still await. Ponder how long till he spies, I said to roof. True probe swapping moons fret. Rolling to Eleanor's bed flank, I voiced to her pad. Rest sound, love. Fares en route, first post her pass. I shut lids with true grin. Rest hit swift, blank and deep. The ease of one quit hauling pulls unhis, out. Seattle eased to night beat. But in our home, calm reclaimed. Dawn would haul Nathan's spy, his fret, his wild bids to mend the coin net he'd took granted. But Eve was mine, to ease, to glow, to the still thrill of yields at last chasing picks. Eleanor would grasp, She'd logged 40 years schooling youth deeds weighed, duty drilled via toil. Cherish at times loosed one to face pick yields. Nathan's schooling loomed. The bygone week rang the calmest I'd known years. I'd logged dawns minding Eleanor's yard, noons sorting her bits with care, not ache, eves scanning tomes I'd shelved in her woe. First post-verdict. I'd dozed full nights sans wake to check one no more needing check. Then Nathan's name lit my device pane. I glared the show 3 tones, mulling take. Part me eyed what snag forced his bar lift. Another part craved let tone, dose him the hush he'd laid me. But chief, I sensed naught, no edge, no blaze, just soft probe on how long till he owned fact. On 5th tone, I took Everett. High. His lilt bore that light pitch from youth when he'd ring for lifts or coin. Sure both granted sans probe. Sorry I barred you last week. Needed room post. You know. I grasp, I said, easing back to Eleanor's throne with Noon Joe. Good. Good. Here, I'm home from Florida now, and snag with my home haul. Fund says May's miss. Your auto shift must have jammed or such. The sure in his lilt stunned. No nod to burial he'd skipped. No own of dams inter. No sorry for waving 42 years cherish as unworthy hour. Just hope I'd mend his coin snag while he pressed to prime pulls. Wasn't jam, I said. A beat. I caught paper shuffle back. Likely fund sheets or home writs he'd ne'er scanned ere. What mean? Can you ring them? Mend it, nay. That's your pull now. Nathan. The quiet dragged deeper this go. When he broke, lilt flipped from light to fretted. My pull. Dad, you've ever steered this? What's a foot rings, just what you voiced me last week. What talk, the shuffle swelled, as if he wild rifled writs for replies unneeded prior. You said your dam's burial unworthy your hour. I held pitch even, chatty, as if mulling climb. Well, your home unworthy mine, the blast quiet post rang balm. I could frame him in his posh Boston loft, ringed by ways my coin helped hold. At last sinking deeds bore yields. You jest not, he said, lilt climbing to wild. This ties to Mom's burial. Dad, that was heart stuff. This rings true coin we trade. Your dam rang true. Nathan, her cherish for you rang true. Her hope you'd drop in end fortnights rang true. I forged my trade. Couldn't drop all per her dim dawn. 18 months growth aids. Eyeing her shrink flag fade, shrunk to stray snags in his wild slate. She passed awaiting your ring, I said. You know that her close week. She eyed if you'd toned. I spun yarns as couldn't bear truth to her. That her lad too prime to spare 5 for dying dam. Unfair. Sent blooms. Rang when could. You rang thrice in 5 moons. Both to probe outlook. Ne'er to trade her direct. The writs quit shuffle. In quiet. I caught his draw quick shallow. Fact at last pierced his self-orb he'd held years. Look, I slipped. Fine, but can't chide me shredding my coin hold. I'm not chiding. Just quit feeding. Feeding. Dad. Vowed aid my home. Vow's vow. The gall shone. Nathan, who'd snapped each vow to dying dam, schooling me on holds. And you vowed stand for kin. I shot. Vowed drop your dam. Vowed ring more. Vows cut both paths. Lad, this shifts, that heart stuff. This coin, this fact, there rang it. Nathan's core grown, heart optional. Bonds snags, but coin sacred. Eleanor's close moon's heart stuff, while his home soul fact mattered. I paced to pain and eyed Eleanor's yard, where fall blooms stirred sans her. She'd held Nathan's spark always. Spun for his slips. Hoped he'd grow the soul she'd raised. Wrong. Farewell. Nathan, I said. Dad. Hold. Can't just... I cut and barred his line now, eyeing sure bloom pain. Line barred. Same note he'd flashed me week back when Jaunt outranked Dam's burial. The home hushed deeper post. But good hush. The calm of picks set and yields owned. Out. Eleanor's lilies bloomed as she'd set. Fair strong, craving no aid from uncaring souls. Nathan's name lit device pane fresh in minutes. He'd toned from spare line, likely trade one, deeming he'd skirt my bar. I took first tone this go. Eyed how far wild drove him. Dare not cut on me. His lilt spiked octave. Bearing youth I recalled from tantrums when way unmet. Craving, owed, unable take world spun not on his crave. Wasn't set to. I said, easing to Eleanor's throne again. This trade earned my full mark. Can't quit hauling my home. Grasp what you wreak on me, I grasp exact what I do. What I miss is why you deem owed 2,500 my coin monthly. Cause vowed when I hit Boston. Said aid till rooted. 6 years back. Nathan, your wage hits 5 figs now. Your close year boon paid home 2 full years, when exact planned route. The probe dangled, I caught his draw hard, likely treading his loft, rifling bids to mend coin net. Not coin, he said at length. Kin aids kin. The twist stunned. Nathan, who ditched kin when aid craved prime. Schooling me on shared prop. Spot on, I said. Kin aids kin. When Eleanor faded, your kin craved you. Where stood you? Toiled, forged path. Grasp how sharp my trade, and when she passed, kin craved you at burial, where needed room mull. Couldn't drop all hop to Seattle. You jaunted Florida, posted reels of self on sands while Dam interred. Fresh quiet, brief but thick, yields heft settling where yarns lived. Fine, he burst, slipped, wasn't honed, but can't shred my span over it, not shredding. Just quit building it for you. Mad. Your sire meant, and she meant damn countable on air. Eleanor backed you 33 years. Spun when you let pals down. Patched snapped vows. Sent coin when claimed need. She passed holding you cherished her. Did cherish. Then why skipped show when cherish craved deed not words cause? His lilt cracked faint. 'Cause couldn't bear her that way. Ill flag dying. Couldn't bear spy your damn die. So left me bare solo. You're tougher me. Always. Knew you could guard her. There rang it. End reveal. Nathan hadn't ditched for toil bold dread. Ditched 'cause eased, let other haul load while he held plush span. Eleanor weighed 85 pounds at pass. I said low. 85 from dame who'd yard hours. Schooled 25 youth daily. Packed you fair each dawn 12 years. Spent close fortnights eyeing you, hoping ring. Holding you cared to buy. Quit. She pressed vow, grasp you. Pardon you. Keep guarding post gone. Then do. Honor her crave. Am honoring. Drilling what she couldn't. Cherish craves duty. Kin means stand. Certain vows snap not sans yields. Dad. Plea. Lose loft. Lose all. And I lost spouse. Bond of 42 years. Dame who spun for you to last draw. But somehow your home outranks her echo. Not same. Right. Not. Eleanor's pass fixed. Your coin snag fleet. Got sound trade. Prime score. 6 years hauls I made. You'll shape some. What if can't, what if fail? Then learn what I did in Eleanor's woe. Certain fights solo. Load self. Duties can't shift. I'm your lad. Can't ditch me. The charge struck bodily. Not true, but it's wild double sight. Nathan, who ditched dying dam, claiming ditch 'cause sire quit coin. And she your dam, I said, but that stayed not from ditching when need prime. Fine, was grim air, that what crave here selfish frail, let her down, but shredding my span won't reclaim her. Not shredding. Nathan, granting chance build self sans my coin base. Eleanor held you sparked. Time I if right. This revenge I crave, I ache for skipped burial. This fair, picked jaunt over dam's burial. Now pick own men to home snag. Same rule, your picks, your yields. Dad, hold, farewell. Nathan, I cut and barred this line too. Eyeing device show same barred note. 2 lines down. How many left? But each bar marked pick. His pick to prime ease over bond. Coin over echo. Self over all. The home eased to hush again. But this hush rang end. No more tones, no more snags, no more feed masked cherish. Nathan would drill duty as Eleanor craved. Via toil. Yields. Spy that others grant boundless not. I eyed her shot on side ledge, framing her take on what I'd wrought. Might shock first, but Eleanor schooled. Grasped certain drills, sank via toil. Warding yields not harm. Think you'd back, I said to her pain. Hard cherish your trade, even unmet on him. Out. Dusk settled hood. Norm souls home from norm trades to norm kin who stood per count. Dawn I'd wake sans fret on Nathan's next snag. Next crave. Next sure his woes mine mend. First 6 years. My coin stayed my line where fit. 3 fortnights passed sans single tone from Nathan. 3 fortnights prime calm Dawn's years, where Joe savored joy not pull. Sheets bore word not edge on what yarn might spark air's next coin wild. I'd shaped time keen. Eleanor's yard craved heed she couldn't grant, and I spied uneyed glow in chasing her palm starts. The lilies she'd set bloomed grand, as if her lack freed them thrive unbound. The voyage house on Main Street proved kind when I voiced what sought a Atlantic sail out June, the Bahamas Isles. Eleanor dreamed chase since we'd spied that jaunt dock 4 years back. She'd tabbed leaves in voyage mags, dug eats in Nassau, shaped treks to old holds she'd scanned young guide. This fits one fresh start, the voyage hand said, fanning leaves cross desk like chances shaped firm. My spouse craved those isles always, I'd said. Think she'd back me chase that sail at last. Ne'er too late honor one's dreams. Nay, not. And with 2,500 held my line monthly sans prop Nathan's ways. Honoring Eleanor's dreams honed coin might. 6 years home hauls turned years jaunts. Toils, quests she'd shelved while we backed thankless air. The fund chief eyed keen when I launched fresh hold line. Atlantic sail pot, I'd tagged, eyeing tally swell with coin prior vanished to Nathan's Boston loft. Pain numbs that rang freedom not feed. My device held bliss, hush. No wild tones on home halls. No fretted posts on boot notes. No craves for wild coin saves. What Nathan shaped to sort house wild. He shaped sans my hand. Exact as should. Harlan toned thrice, checking my hold with 4 decades bond care. I'd voiced the sail, the yard. The deep calm settled my span. Post quit Nathan's coin net. Eleanor glow, he'd said. Took long sink what she knew always. What that at times cherish one means loose them drill hard path. The yard drop turned weakly right, hauling fresh blooms from Eleanor's yard to lay by her stone. Today hauled word with lilies. Well, dear, I said, shaping blooms neat to slate. Booked that sail you craved. Out for Nassau in 5 weeks. then cruising all those aisles you tabbed in guides. A soft gust stirred blooms, as if she backed. Nathan toned some post-lost haul. Seemed struck deeds bear yields. Fancy that. I eased to known one-way trade grown post her pass. You held me soft on him. Turns you right. The noon light hurled long shades cross yard grounds. Calm eternal. Pier droppers paced soft mid stones, hauling own blooms, sharing own word with cherished unvoice but somehow heeding. $210,000. I pressed on. That's our outlay on his home 6 years. Enough for yard fresh you craved. That Pacific chase you shelved. Perhaps back some merit youth class over feed one thankless youth. Eleanor's shot grinned from storm frame. Same cast she'd worn mulling tough youth who'd gripped hard bits at last. Patient, graspful. Firm in trust drill craved toil. Growth pulled strife and cherish at times meant nay. Think you grasp why I wrought? I said. Logged 40 years schooling youth picks bore yields. Duty couldn't shift. Grown meant haul self-woes. Perhaps time Nathan sank what you schooled always. The haul home took me cross hoods I'd held full-grown arc, past classes Eleanor guided, through holds where we'd built bonds outlast air's grudge. Seattle in late bloom shone, foliage budding, kin from chill rest, life pressing old wheel of renew growth, home. I shaped eve fair with bits picked joy not thrift, dining slow while shaping dawn yard toil. The home rang lighter sans Nathan's end craves weight, roomier sans his woes crowding each nook. My fresh passbook hit yesterday, crisp firm, set for quests Eleanor I shaped but unmet. The sail path sat den ledge by jaunt guides to isle holds. Old stones, Atlantic ports where aged worlds thrived faded, leaving drills on building lasting. Nathan would build self-span now, sans my coin base. If he thrived or slipped hung on sparks Eleanor tried instill, but I'd undercut via feed, bounce, duty. Grasp, cherish meant earn as take. The eve word played soft back. Yarns of far clashes, local wins. Mark's world spun heedless lone strifes. Somewhere Boston. Nathan likely loft sought, sinking what 2,500 rang true from self-wage, not sire's grant. Felt no fault on his lot. No urge save him yields he'd shaped. Eleanor passed, hoping he'd grown soul she held he might. My feed had stalled that growth years, but no more. Out. Bloom turned summer. Eleanor's yard blooming hues she'd picked. Scents she'd prized. Fair she'd shaped with own palms. In 5 weeks, I'd board craft-bound spots she dreamed spy, hauling her echo to aisles where aged wit yet breathed on old human strife twixt cherish bond. The device held hush, and hush honed. As the sun dipped low over Seattle's blooming streets, Everett sipped his coffee, gazing at the garden that bloomed without apology. Eleanor's lessons echoed in the petals, growth demands, roots in soil. Not endless shade. Nathan's path now lay uncharted, a map drawn by his own hand, perhaps leading to regret or redemption. Who knows, life's stories twist like vines. What touched you most in Everett's choice? Did it stir memories of your own family ties? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's exchange ideas, ask questions, and build this conversation together. Your voice matters here on the channel. To dive into the next tale, just click the box on the left. Thank you for joining this journey. Your time means the world. Until next time, keep reflecting, keep connecting.